Thoreau said this. He said, if you advance confidently in the direction of your own dreams and endeavor to live the life which you have imagined, you will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. What that means is that success is not something that you can get in life. Success is an inner process. Success is something that you bring to everything you do in your life. It isn't something you get out of what you do. And when you get that, and you learn how to get the junk out and advance confidently, doing what makes the most amount of sense to you based on your inner signals and the one issue of morality, which is you never interfere with anybody else's right to do the same. Each person has their own right to advance confidently in the direction of their own dreams. And when you violate that, you're violating the principle of the universe, the essence of the universe, which is cooperation and harmony. Then success will begin to chase you. And it will come into your life and arrive in your life in amounts that you never dreamt of before. That you never dreamt of. Things will start happening to you that you would never imagine before. I'm working on a book right now that's going to be called You'll See It When You Believe It. And when you start believing in some of these principles, you'll start seeing things that you were blind to for so long. When you were back here in the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5, when you were moving away from yourself, as long as you're moving back towards your universal essence, your harmony with yourself, your cooperation with the rest, things will start happening in ways that you never dreamt of. Jung called it synchronicity. And it's a term that we use to explain how unexplainable coincidences sort of happen in our life. And how come these things happen? I'm going to share a couple of those with you before we leave. The quality versus appearance in your life means that you get that inner candle flame working in a way that gives you quality, independent of what other people think of you. Maslow, in defining self-actualizing, no-limit people, said they are independent of the good opinion of other people. Of the good opinion of other people. Independent of it. They're so busy advancing confidently, doing the things that make sense, and bringing success to changing their baby's diaper, and bringing success to weeding their garden, and bringing it to the job. They bring it on the airplane so that when they run into somebody who is rude to them, a stewardess that is rude, they don't see it as an attack on them. It's just where they are, and they send them love. Help them a little bit, you know? They're kind. When somebody wants to get in on the freeway, and they're one old temptation when they were on the 1 to the 6 side was to say, oh yeah, nobody's getting in front of me, I'm getting there first. It's like, they slow down a little bit. They don't have all that type A stuff of having to beat somebody else and having to defeat somebody. It's a new way of being. It's a way of quality where your harmony allows you to cooperate, and you are a part of what this whole thing is about. New way of being, quality rather than appearances. Instead of looking all your life for achievements and externals, try living your life on knowledge for the sake of knowledge. Knowledge instead of achievement. For the sake of knowledge. Being in a context in which you don't have to collect a lot of merit badges. You don't have to collect a lot of awards and other people's value judgments. That you go to school or you go out into the world or you read or whatever it is you do because it makes sense to you, not because of what somebody else is going to put on a transcript or where you're going to appear in a class list. We're in an achievement-oriented society, which tells us that we evaluate and judge a human being based upon how many achievements he has. But most of the people who get caught up in that trap and are always in this circle of trying to get ahead, trying to always get ahead, their reward for that almost always is higher blood pressure, ulcers, early deaths, and even things like cancer, we're beginning to find out, are related to the kinds of stresses that we have. And remember, it's a perfect universe. There's no stress in it. There's only people thinking stressful thoughts. And when you put that pressure on yourself to always achieve and get ahead of the other guy, you miss what it's really all about. There's nothing wrong with goals. It's falling in love with them that's the problem. It's not being able to be flexible and alter them. If you have a goal to get here, to get $100,000 in the bank, to get to this promotion, to get 2 cars in your garage, whatever it is that your goal is, and you're on your way to that, and you're always working at the goal, all of this stuff on your way to the goal is called striving, and that's what you learn, striving. And striving is a very low-level place to be. When you get to your goal, because all you've ever known is striving, you will just always suffer from this disease called more. You will just upgrade your goal to $200,000, 4 cars and 2 houses and another wife and a younger one and all of these kinds of things. If you have a goal and you understand that every step along the way is a present moment to enjoy and to live, then the goal won't become any obsession. I don't have any goals in my life. People ask me, where are you going to be 5 years from now? What are you going to be doing? What's next for you? I remember what Lincoln said, who to me was like the greatest person who ever sat in that White House. He said, I never had a policy. He said, I just tried to do what made the greatest amount of sense each and every day of my life as I sat there as the President of the United States. And I think there's something really significant in that you don't have to get it all planned out and follow a certain pattern and do it a certain way. If you just sort of trust your inner instincts and go with that and live each moment, the goal stuff will all take care of itself. But if you're sacrificing and pushing your life aside and suffering on your way to trying to get someplace, you'll never get there. It will always elude you, because once you get there, you'll just have to upgrade it. And that's because that's all you'll know. Nowness is that purest form of sanity, living in this moment and enjoying it. And all the rest of it will sort of work its way out.
You were not born to race the clock. You were not born to chase the minutes like loose marbles scattering across a tile floor. You were born timeless, infinite, spacious, a breath of God inhabiting the temporary shell of flesh and bone, not to be measured by hours past, but by the light you emit while here. Time, as you have come to know it, is not your master. It is your mirror. And you, beloved, are not behind. You are simply being invited to expand within the sacred space of now. The panic you feel around time is not because time is cruel. It's because the ego believes your worth is tied to productivity, to calendars and clocks and external achievements. But your spirit knows better. Your soul is not in a rush. It is eternal. It is patient. It is not counting days, it is breathing presence into them. What if your purpose was not to keep up, but to slow down until you become one with the rhythm that has always been here, beneath the noise? Time is not something you have, it is something you are in relationship with. It stretches when you are present, it contracts when you resist, it disappears altogether when you are in flow. And it traps you in anxiety when you believe you must catch up with something outside yourself. But there is nothing to catch. The finish line is not in the future, it is in your stillness. The trees are not in a hurry, yet they grow. The sun is not anxious, yet it rises. The moon doesn't beg for your permission to shine light, simply is. Why then, dear soul, do you rush through your own becoming? Who convinced you that your sacred unfolding had to be done on a timeline someone else invented? The divine is not on a schedule. Your awakening has no due date. You see, the illusion of running out of time is not a crisis of time itself, it is a crisis of identity. The part of you that fears not enough time is the same part of you that believes it must earn its place here. That is the voice of the ego. The ego will tell you, do more, be more, achieve more, then you'll be safe. But the soul whispers, you already are. Be still and know. When you are truly present, when you drop beneath the mind's fixation on past and future, you enter the timeless field of being. This is where healing happens. This is where peace lives. This is where you remember that nothing real can be rushed and nothing true can be missed. In that holy space, you no longer chase time. You become a vessel for eternity. Pause with me now, not to analyze, but to feel. Feel the breath in your body. It is not yesterday's breath, it is not tomorrow's, it is this owner right now. This breath is your teacher. It says, Everything is happening here. Everything is born now. Nothing is out of reach when you are rooted in this sacred inhale. You do not need to earn stillness. It is your home. You were not sent here to keep pace with a society that has forgotten how to be. You were not created to perform urgency like a ritual of self-worth. The race is not real. The timeline is not divine. It is man-made. What is real is your awareness. What is holy is your presence. What is miraculous is the love you allow to flow through you when you no longer resist the moment you're in. And I say to you now, from the deepest well of truth, peace is not found in managing time. It is found in surrendering to being. When you stop trying to bend time to your will and instead open to its flow, you become aligned with the infinite intelligence that knows what you truly need and when you need it. Your life starts to feel guided, not pressured, orchestrated, not forced. So many people ask, how do I find more time? But this is the wrong question. The real question is, how do I return to the eternal now where time loses its grip and I find my soul again? The answer is always presence. The answer is always inner spaciousness. You do not need more hours. You need fewer distractions. You do not need to speed up. You need to return inward. There is a spiritual physics to life. When you become still inside, the external world aligns itself around your clarity. Not because you have control, but because you are now cooperating with divine timing. The more you trust the unfolding, the more you see that every delay had a purpose. Every pause had a gift. And every moment was never wasted. It was forming you. You may think your future lives in the next 5 years, but the truth is, your future is being formed in how you show up right now. Do you rush past the moment, or do you live in it fully? Do you squeeze time, or do you soften into it? When you expand within time, your energy shifts from force to faith. And that shift is everything. Because when you live from the soul, you are no longer governed by fear's clock. You become timeless when you release resistance. You become powerful when you stop performing urgency. You become divine when you stop fighting the moment you're in and allow it to be what it is, without judgment, without panic, without shame. The sacred is always still. The holy is always now. And here's a truth worth remembering every day. You do not run out of time when you live aligned with the source, because source is eternal. And you, beloved, are an extension of that source. How can you be late to your own life when life itself lives through you? When you are truly aligned with the divine rhythm of life, you will notice something miraculous. The moment begins to slow down for you, not because the clock has changed, but because your consciousness has. The more inwardly spacious you become, the more expansive the world around you begins to feel. Opportunities that once slipped by unnoticed begin to reveal themselves. Silence becomes meaningful. A conversation becomes sacred. A walk becomes a communion. This is the reward of presence. It awakens you to what has always been here. You are not waiting for life to begin. Life is waiting for you to arrive. And arriving does not mean doing more, rushing more, checking more boxes. It means becoming awake to this very breath, this very feeling, this very now. There is no magic in the future if you're asleep in the present. The ego will always convince you that fulfillment is one step ahead, one goal away, one promotion, one relationship, one achievement down the line. But the soul smiles and says, I am already here. Be with me now. We live in a culture addicted to urgency. Urgency has become a false badge of importance. But urgency is not presence, it is the child of fear. Urgency says, I am not enough unless I prove my worth through speed. But presence says, I am already enough. And from this stillness, miracles unfold. The deepest transformation you can experience in this lifetime is not rearranging your schedule, it is realigning your relationship to time itself. Because time isn't chasing you, it is offering itself to you. It is a silent invitation to return to what is real. But most people don't hear this invitation. They are running, 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 trying to outrun the voice in their head that says they'll never be enough. But there is no finish line to self-worth. You are worthy now. You are already whole now. No achievement, no title, no external validation can complete what the divine already calls perfect. Let this truth move through you. The present moment is not a stepping stone, it is the entire path. When you expand within this moment, you stop grasping and start allowing. You stop begging life to hurry, and you begin to trust that everything you need is arriving right on time. Your healing, your awakening, your purpose, your next step. They are not on some distant horizon, they are embedded in the present, right here, in this breath, in this stillness. You've been taught that stillness is laziness, that not moving is failure, that rest is weakness. But the truth is, stillness is spiritual strength. It takes power to pause. It takes deep faith to listen before you act. It takes courage to trust that life is unfolding perfectly, even when you don't see the outcome yet. That's the difference between living by ego and living by spirit. Ego demands a result. Spirit embraces the process. You were never meant to conquer time. You were meant to harmonize with it. And the only way to harmonize with time is to live from your soul. Because your soul is not counting the minutes, it is counting the moments of truth, the moments of love, the moments of surrender. And the soul doesn't measure success in speed, it measures success in alignment. Slow down, not because you're giving up, but because you're finally waking up to the miracle of a heartbeat, waking up to the beauty of your breath, waking up to the divine whisper that says, you are not running out of time. You are simply being called to return home, to yourself, to your center, to the eternal now. When you live from the ego, every moment feels like a race. When you live from the soul, every moment feels like grace. The difference is not in what you do, it's in how you be. Can you allow yourself to be rooted, not rushed? Can you trust that your becoming is not on a timer, but on a divine timeline? The soul does not bloom on demand. The soul blooms in divine timing. And divine timing is never late, never early, only perfect. But to see its perfection, you must stop looking at life through the lens of control and begin to see it through the lens of surrender. You don't need more time to feel whole. You need less resistance to the time you already have. You don't need to fix your schedule, you need to expand within it. You don't need to stretch the hours, you need to soften into your presence. Let go of the belief that you are behind. Let go of the belief that you must prove your worth through productivity. Let go of the anxiety that tells you life is slipping away. Life is not slipping, it is inviting. The moment is not passing you by, it is waiting for you to notice it. And when you do, when you finally see the now for what it is, a living, breathing sanctuary of divine awareness, you will understand that you never needed more hours. You only needed more presence. You only needed to stop chasing time and start expanding within it. There was a deeper part of you that already lives in harmony with time. It's the part of you that loses track of hours when you're doing what you love. It's the part that feels one breath stretch into eternity when you're holding a loved one, watching the stars, or hearing music that moves your soul. In those moments, you are no longer the chaser, you are the channel. You are no longer the one fearing time, you are the one dissolving into its sacred rhythm. This is what happens when you remember who you are. Not a creature of habit, but a current of heaven. Not a machine designed to produce, but a miracle designed to awaken. And to awaken, you must stop measuring your value by the world's frantic standards. You must reclaim your sacred right to rest, to be, to breathe, without guilt, without apology, without the illusion that stillness equals failure. You are not here to meet every deadline. You are here to meet your destiny. And destiny is not found in rushing. Destiny is revealed in receptivity. It speaks in the soft moments, in the subtle nudges, in the divine delays. But if you're always in a hurry, you'll miss the whispers that were meant to guide you. You'll miss the doorway disguised as a pause. You'll miss the miracle unfolding in what you thought was wasted time. How often have you condemned yourself for not being far enough? How often have you swallowed the shame of not yet, not knowing that the universe was rearranging the stars for your arrival? How often have you measured your life by artificial milestones, only to realize that none of them brought the peace you craved? Peace was never the reward. Peace was the path. But the path is invisible when you are sprinting through it. Slow down, not because you're falling behind, but because you're finally waking up to the truth. Presence is the gateway to power. Awareness is the home of miracles. And when you are fully here, fully now, fully you, everything aligns, not because you forced it, but because you flowed with it. Because you trusted that the universe was never against you. It was waiting for you to stop running. There are no late bloomers in the garden of the soul. There are only divine unfoldings. And your blooming is beautiful, not in spite of its timing, but because of it. Some souls need more winners before they rise. Some truths need more silence before they surface. Some hearts need more breaking before they become open enough to hold the light. What if the delays in your life weren't punishments but preparations? What if what looked like detours were actually initiations? What if time wasn't the enemy but the womb from which your higher self would be born? You can't rush birth. You can't rush the cracking of the shell. And you cannot force the soul into awakening. You can only allow it. And that's the key. Allowing, not controlling, not pushing, not demanding. Allowing, expanding, opening, trusting. This is the soul's relationship to time. Not a tug of war, but a dance. A surrender to the divine tempo that already knows the steps. When you stop rushing through life, you begin to see what you've been missing. You see the way the sunlight kisses the leaves. You hear the sound of your own intuition, faint but clear. You notice the sacred details, the look in a stranger's eye, the breath between words, the silence beneath noise. Life stops being something you run through and becomes something you are in communion with. And here's the sacred paradox. The more present you are, the more time seems to expand. You get more done with less stress. You make better decisions. You attract more synchronicity because your energy is clean, uncluttered, unclenched. You are no longer reacting to life. You are responding from truth. You are no longer racing the clock. You are dancing with eternity. You cannot heal while you are in a rush. You cannot receive when you are in survival mode. You cannot hear the divine when your mind is yelling over the still, small voice. To expand within time means to create space. Space in your thoughts, space in your emotions, space in your schedule, not as an escape, but as a sacred act of remembrance. Remember this, you are not behind. You are on time for your own life. The moment you arrive fully into the now, you are exactly where you are meant to be. No sooner, no later, no more, no less. So be here, breathe here, trust here. This is your portal. This is your healing. This is your miracle. The world will tell you to move faster, but your soul will ask you to move truer. One is noise, the other is wisdom. One exhausts, the other expands. And this is where your freedom begins, not by matching the world's speed, but by matching the universe's rhythm. It takes deep courage to slow down when everything around you says rush. It takes spiritual maturity to rest when the world rewards exhaustion. But until you stop equating your value with your velocity, you will remain trapped in the illusion that your worth is somewhere you have to arrive. It's not. It's here. Now. Always, when you stop chasing time, you begin to reclaim your life. Not just in hours and days, but in meaning, in presence, in sacred attention. Your relationships deepen. Your inner voice sharpens. Your nervous system softens, and life, once blurry from the race, becomes vivid again. You taste your food, you feel your emotions, you hear the wind speaking through the trees. You come alive not because you did more, but because you finally did less with more love. And isn't that the point of time? Not to control it, not to dominate it, but to fill it with depth, with love, with beauty that cannot be measured but only felt. The ego says, make every second count. The soul says, make every second sacred. There is a difference. One is pressure, the other is presence. So much of our anxiety comes from imagining we've fallen behind on a timeline no one truly understands. We compare, we panic, we rush. But have you ever asked, who created this race? Who decided what on time means? Who said you were too late for anything meant for your soul? The divine never rushes. It waits with infinite compassion for your readiness. You don't need to arrive quickly, you need to arrive wholly. And the only way to do that is to stop rushing your becoming. You are not an assembly line. You are a constellation being lit one star at a time. Let life pace you, not pressure you. Let love pull you, not force drive you. Let grace teach you that sometimes the deepest growth comes in the quietest season. The most powerful revelations happen not in the peak, but in the pause. The pause is sacred. The pause is where the divine whispers. And if you're in that pause right now, if things feel slow, still, or uncertain, know that you are not stuck. You are gestating. You are aligning. You are being tuned to a higher frequency. You are being invited to inhabit your life with more truth, more courage, more soul. In stillness, you will remember what matters. You will remember what no clock can ever measure the depth of your being. You are not here to do time. You are here to embody eternity. You are not here to chase the clock. You are here to awaken beyond it. Let every inhale be a return. Let every exhale be a release. You don't need to rush into the future to find yourself. You need to root into the now and let yourself expand, not with urgency, but with reverence. And that expansion doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it looks like grief or patience or surrender. These are not delays. These are doorways. This is time becoming sacred again. Time is not your enemy. It is your ally when you stop fighting it. It is your teacher when you listen. It is your canvas when you become the artist of your life. You can't control how long anything lasts, but you can choose how deeply you live while it's here. You can choose to make a moment eternal by how open your heart is in it. You can choose to make peace the foundation of your hours. You can choose to move through time, not as a victim of its ticking, but as a creator of its meaning. You can choose to stop performing urgency and start living intimacy with this breath, with this step, with this moment, because the greatest miracle is not waiting in the future. It is waiting in the full embrace of now. You were not meant to be a servant of the ticking hand. You were not sent here to measure your life in deadlines, alarms, and schedules, but in awareness, presence, and the sacred art of noticing. Noticing the way the moment holds you when you stop resisting it. Noticing how peace begins to rise when you stop filling every corner of your day with noise. Noticing that what you were chasing was never time, it was you. You were looking for yourself in the future, not realizing you've been quietly waiting in the stillness all along. When you slow down, you don't lose time. You meet your life, you meet your wounds, you meet your truth. And you give yourself permission to feel, not as a distraction from progress, but as the very path to wholeness. To feel is not to fall behind. To feel is to return to what is real. The present moment is always real. The future is theory. The past is memory. But now is alive. It is breathing. It is sacred. And it is where God lives. And what is God if not the breath beneath the breath, the stillness behind every heartbeat, the intelligence flowing through the silence you keep avoiding? The divine does not shout, it waits. It whispers, and only the present is quiet enough to hear. There is no greater rebellion in a world that glorifies hustle than to become still and full of joy for no reason. Not because you achieved something, not because you crossed the finish line, but because you remembered you are enough without the chase. You are light without the rush. You are whole even when you are still. Time will pass no matter what. But you get to choose whether you pass through time numb or awake, whether you race toward an imagined destination, or expand into the richness of every unfolding moment. And the irony is, the more present you become, the more time begins to stretch for you. It opens, it bends, it yields, not to your control, but to your consciousness. Presence is the doorway through which the miraculous enters. And the miracle is not out there in some distant future where you finally made it. The miracle is this moment where nothing is missing and you are not late. How could you be late when the soul is timeless? How could you be behind when the divine has no stopwatch? The belief that you must hurry to catch up is rooted in forgetting who you are. You are not the body that ages. You are not the calendar you mark. You are not the plans you postponed. You are the awareness, witnessing it all. You are the eternal, watching the temporary. You are the sky, not the storm. And the sky does not chase time. It holds it, it observes, it expands. And in this expansion, healing begins, not by speeding up, but by slowing into yourself, slowing into your heart, slowing into your breath, slowing into the sacred truth that nothing essential can be missed. Your soul will not let you miss what was written for you. What's meant for you will not require self-betrayal to receive. It will not require burnout. It will not ask you to sacrifice presence in exchange for proximity. There is a divine choreography at work, and sometimes the most aligned step is stillness. Sometimes the most courageous act is not pushing harder, but listening deeper. Sometimes the next step is not forward, but inward. And inward is where time slows. Inward is where eternity begins. Inward is where the real you lives untouched by the ticking of clocks, unbothered by the world's obsession with urgency. You cannot find the soul in a rush. You cannot feel love when you are only moving. You cannot receive the universe when your arms are always reaching but never resting. Expansion doesn't come through force. It comes through surrender. It comes through trust. Trust that you are where you need to be. Trust that nothing essential can pass you by. Trust that your presence is more powerful than your performance. Trust that time is not your master, but your mirror, reflecting how deeply you allow yourself to be. And so I say, with the fullness of divine remembrance behind these words, stop running. Stop trying to beat the clock. Stop measuring your life in hours and start measuring it in awareness, in awe, in aliveness. Expand within the now, because this breath, this moment, this sacred stillness is where your life truly lives. The clock has no dominion over the eternal. It only governs what is temporary, what is surface. But you are not surface. You are not fleeting. You are not a race to be won. You are the sky above all rushing. You are the silence underneath all sound. You are the consciousness beneath the calendar. You are the breath before the name. The fear of running out of time vanishes when you realize you are the timeless. When you step into this moment fully, without resistance, without judgment, without grasping, time no longer moves against you. It moves with you. It begins to cooperate with your peace. It honors your trust. It blesses your stillness. It no longer demands of you. It delivers to you. Because when you are no longer striving to get somewhere, you are finally open to receive what has always been here. This moment is not in your way. It is the way. Every second you resist this moment, you delay the miracle. Every second you open to it, you allow the divine choreography to unfold. This is what expanding within time means, not just slowing your pace, but softening your grip. Releasing the narrative, releasing the guilt, releasing the lie that says you must chase something to be whole. You don't need more time to prove yourself. You don't need more time to become something else. You need only this moment, entered fully, breathed consciously, received humbly. And from here, everything changes. Not because the world suddenly gives you more time, but because you finally become timeless in your way of being. You start showing up with your heart instead of your clock. You begin to speak from your soul instead of your schedule. You begin to live as if every moment is sacred because it is. And then you start to notice the right people come, the right answers arrive, the tension begins to melt, the anxiety begins to fade, not because life became easier, but because you became present. You stopped performing, you started living, and your life responded accordingly. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not failing. You are arriving now. And if no one ever told you this before, let me tell you now, with the authority of every awakened heart that has ever remembered the truth, you are doing just fine. You are unfolding in perfect timing. You are learning what needs to be learned. You are shedding what must be released. You are blossoming, not despite your delays, but because of them. You are not separate from time. You are the pulse within it, the soul that gives it meaning, the consciousness that can turn any moment, even this one, into a gateway to the infinite. So breathe now. Be still now. Smile now, not because everything is fixed, but because you are finally home in yourself. Let the river of urgency dry up. Let the voice of the world fall silent. Let the whisper of your soul rise like a breeze through the leaves, soft, strong, undeniable. You are not here to race time. You are here to remember the eternal presence that was never absent. You are here to reclaim the sacred rhythm that the world forgot. You are here to stop chasing and start expanding within the only place life has ever truly existed. Now, and now again, and now again, because every now is a miracle, and you are not missing a thing. This is your life. This is your time, and it is holy. Let it be enough. Let it be yours. Let it be.
There is a truth that echoes beneath the noise of this world. It is not loud. It does not beg for attention. It whispers softly but persistently beneath every breath you take and every doubt you hold. And it says, you are already whole. You are already worthy. You are already love. Not because of what you do, not because of what you own, but because of what you are. A divine being wrapped in a temporary form, here not to earn love, but to remember it. You see, somewhere along the way, we were taught to equate self-love with arrogance, with pride, with vanity. We were told to keep ourselves small, humble to the point of invisibility, quiet to the point of silence. We were trained to apologize for our light, to dim it so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable in its presence. But I am here to tell you that self-love is not vanity. It is not ego. It is not some inflated image puffed up by the approval of others. It is not a mask you wear, but the moment you take all masks off. It is not insanity. It is sanity. It is not selfishness. It is salvation. When you deny yourself love, you don't become more generous. You become more wounded. And the wounded, when unaware, wound others. A soul that has not been fed with its own acceptance will forever seek approval from others, like a starving child crying at the gate of a closed home. And the tragedy is this: the gate was never locked. It was never even real. It was a phantom created by your mind, a barrier built by belief. And you, my dear friend, are the builder and the breaker of that gate. To love yourself is not to place yourself above others, but to return to alignment with who you've always been, beneath the fear, beneath the roles, beneath the endless striving. You are not what this world convinced you to become. You are not your bank account. You are not your resume. You are not your mistakes. You are not the story your past tries to sell you. You are the breath behind the story. You are the awareness watching the storm, not the storm itself. And yet, we chase love as though it's outside of us. We chase it in people, in praise, in performance, but the heart knows the truth. Love that must be earned is not love, it's a transaction. And the soul cannot survive on transactions. It needs communion. It needs truth. And truth begins when you stop chasing and start returning. When you stop fighting for scraps and remember the feast has always been within. You were never meant to beg for what you are. You were never meant to prove yourself worthy of your own embrace. That is the madness the world taught you. That is the distortion that must be undone. You see, you don't heal by becoming someone new. You heal by remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Before shame crept in, before guilt whispered its lies, before comparison choked your joy, you heal by coming home. And home, my dear, is within. It's not in the mirror's approval. It's in the mirror's forgiveness. When you look into your own eyes and say, I see you, I love you. You don't have to be perfect anymore to be worthy of peace. That's when the shift begins. That's when the veil lifts. That's when the soul sighs in relief and whispers, finally, you remembered. And so, I ask you, what would happen if you stopped trying to be lovable and simply loved yourself? Not when you succeed, not when you fix all your flaws, but now, as you are, in this breath, with the mess and the miracle all mixed in. What would happen if you honored your scars instead of hiding them? What if they weren't proof of brokenness, but proof of bravery? Every crack in you is an opening for light. Every wound is a portal for wisdom. And every moment you choose to embrace yourself rather than abandon yourself, you rise. Not above others, but back into alignment with the divine pulse of life that created you. God did not create you to hate yourself. Life did not gift you breath so you could suffocate beneath your own judgment. The universe is not against you. The universe is within you, waiting for you to realign with your original frequency, and that frequency is love. Love that does not need a reason. Love that does not flinch when you falter. Love that does not withdraw when you make a mistake. Love that says, you are sacred still. This love does not scream, it does not argue, it does not compete, it simply is. And it is the most sane, most grounding, most healing energy you will ever know, and it begins when you stop outsourcing your worth. No one out there can give you what your own heart has the power to offer. And the moment you recognize this is the moment you stop begging and start being. The moment you realize self-love is not just a practice, it is a return to reality. The insanity was believing you were separate from your source. The sanity is remembering you never were. You were not born with doubt. You learned it. You were not born with shame. It was handed to you. You didn't arrive on this planet afraid to love yourself. You were conditioned into thinking that self-celebration was arrogance, that self-compassion was weakness, that to speak kindly to yourself was somehow self-indulgent. But the soul knows better. The soul never buys into that noise. The soul knows that honoring yourself is not egotism, it's equilibrium. It is the necessary homecoming to balance a world that has tried to pull you away from your center. Think for a moment about the tree. It does not question the space it takes up. It does not shrink to make the forest more comfortable. It does not apologize for its blossoming, or its roots, or its reach toward the sun. It simply grows not in competition with the others, but in full expression of what it was always destined to be. And so must you. You do not owe the world an apology for your light. You owe it your truth. You owe it your wholeness. You owe it the example of what it looks like when a person returns to their sacred self and finally stops running. Because you can run for a long time, my friend. You can run from your hurt. You can run from your reflection. You can run into careers, into relationships, into endless distractions that keep you too busy to feel. But there will come a moment, and perhaps this is it, when the running exhausts you, when even your distractions start to feel hollow. When the version of you that you built to survive no longer fits the version of you that is ready to live. And when that moment comes, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. It's the crack in the shell where the light gets in. That's the beginning of sanity. Not the sanity the world defines through boxes and metrics and control, but the deeper sanity of the soul. The sanity of remembrance, of clarity, of sacred stillness. The sanity that arises when you no longer try to earn your right to exist, but simply breathe in your own being as enough. And it is enough. You are enough. The caterpillar does not earn the right to become the butterfly. It simply surrenders to the process. It goes into the cocoon, it dissolves, it dies to the old form, and emerges in newness. What looks like death to the outside world is actually transformation. And perhaps what feels like crumbling within you is simply the old architecture falling away so the divine blueprint of your soul can be rebuilt, not in shame, but in love. That's what self-love does. It rebuilds you from the inside out. It doesn't fix you because you were never broken. It frees you from the illusion that you had to be fixed. It invites you to sit in your own silence, to touch the parts of you you've abandoned, and to say to them, you are safe now. I am here. I'm not going to leave myself again. Imagine the power of that. Imagine being the sanctuary you've always sought. Imagine walking through the world not looking to be validated, but to express truth. Not needing to prove anything, but simply to be a living, breathing embodiment of love itself. That is not ego. That is presence. That is your birthright. But this path isn't loud. It doesn't shout for recognition. It's not about performance. It's about depth. And depth requires courage. It takes a sacred kind of bravery to look at yourself unfiltered, unguarded, and to still choose love, to still choose forgiveness, to still say, even here, even now, especially now, I love you. You can't fake that. You can't manufacture it through affirmations alone. You must feel it. You must return to the inner child who once wondered if they were too much or not enough, and whisper, you were never too much, and you were never not enough. You were always exactly who you were meant to be. This is the kind of love that liberates. It's the kind that doesn't depend on your past, your performance, or your popularity. It is the love that sees through the masks, through the defenses, through the survival patterns, and still says yes, still stays, still believes. And that, my friend, is sanity. True sanity is alignment. It is when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all stem from love, not fear. When your life is no longer a reaction to pain, but a creation from peace. When your value is no longer negotiable. Because you've made peace with the one person who was always the gatekeeper. You. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot serve the world by diminishing yourself. Your presence, when rooted in truth, is a gift. Your joy is medicine. Your boundaries are wisdom. Your radiance is not a threat. It is a permission slip to others who've forgotten how to shine. But that light must be turned inward first. That love must be born in the quiet places of your heart, where no one is watching and no one is clapping. That's where the real work happens. That's where transformation takes root. And when it does, when you begin to choose love over loathing, kindness over criticism, and stillness over striving, you become a lighthouse. Not a lifeboat, not a rescuer, but a lighthouse. Simply standing in your truth, shining from within, and reminding others, you can come home too. When you begin to love yourself, truly and without condition, the world doesn't necessarily change, but the way you see it does. the same streets, the same people, the same circumstances, all begin to soften through the lens of compassion you first extend to yourself. And in that shift, what once felt like chaos begins to feel like choreography. You start to understand that everything that hurt you was never meant to break you, it was meant to wake you. To invite you to become more intimate with the sacred truth you've ignored, that you are not lacking, you are learning, you are not falling behind, you are unfolding. Self-love is not a destination you reach with a checklist. It is not a mood, a trend, or a curated morning ritual. It is a radical, ongoing act of grace. It's how you treat yourself when no one is watching. It's the gentleness you offer your mind when it races. It's the forgiveness you extend when you falter. It's how you hold your own hand when the world turns cold. It's the whisper in the dark that says, even now, I will not abandon you. Because sanity, true spiritual sanity, is not about being calm all the time or having it all together. It is about returning again and again to the awareness that you are not the noise in your mind. You are the space it moves through. You are not the wound. You are the witness. You are not the pain. You are the presence that can hold it. And that shift, that inner knowing, brings peace, not because life becomes easier, but because you become anchored. And when you are anchored in self-love, life loses its power to control you. Other people's opinions may still be loud, but they no longer own you. Their approval no longer determines your peace. Their disapproval no longer dictates your worth. You realize that you were never created to be edited by external expectations. You were created to be whole. You were created to be free. And freedom begins when the shackles of self-rejection fall off. You start to live differently. You speak more softly to yourself. You stop waiting for perfection and begin to dance with your humanity. You stop proving and start breathing. You stop reaching for something more and begin embracing what already is. And from that place, a quiet confidence rises, not loud, not boastful, but rooted. The kind of confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. It simply exists, like a mountain, like the ocean, like the soul that no longer fears being seen. And in that state of sanity, you stop trying to be lovable and realize you are love. Not as a concept, not as a motivational quote, but as your essence, as your very breath, as the truth you carry in every cell. You see that your existence is not an accident, not a mistake, not a detour, but a divine appointment. You are here to remember, to realign, to reclaim. You are here not to become better, but to remember you were never less. You are here to embody, not to impress. You are here to be, not to become, because being pure, present, unapologetic being is the most powerful gift you could ever offer the world. And when you touch that truth, even briefly, the search ends. You are no longer chasing worthiness. You are no longer addicted to validation. You are no longer trying to fix what was never broken. You have come home. And in that home, there is quiet, there is love, there is clarity. There is you, not the version they wanted, not the mask you wore, but the real, radiant, raw you. And that, dear soul, is more than enough. There will come a moment, and perhaps it's arriving now, where you feel the weight of all the roles you've been performing, and you will quietly, maybe even tearfully, begin to lay them down. Not because you failed in them, but because you finally saw through them. You'll no longer need to be the strong one all the time, or the quiet one, or the successful one, or the agreeable one. You'll no longer need to be what others projected onto you, because you'll have found something more powerful than any performance. You'll have found presence. And presence cannot be faked. It doesn't wear a costume. It doesn't adjust itself to win applause. Presence just is. It is the stillness in you that no trauma could touch, no shame could stain, and no lie could bury forever. Presence is what remains when all the illusions fall away. And you meet it not by climbing, but by surrendering. not by acquiring more, but by releasing what no longer serves. When you love yourself, you begin to understand the wisdom in letting go, not out of indifference, but out of reverence. You let go of the story that says you must earn rest. You let go of the belief that your worth is tied to your productivity. You let go of the assumption that you are only lovable when you please others. You release it all, not in anger, not in resistance, but in peace. You begin to see that self-love is not about adding more to yourself. It's about peeling back the layers of everything that was never truly you. And beneath those layers, there is a quiet purity, a softness that is not weakness, but wisdom, a grace that doesn't scream, but heals, a joy that isn't loud, but deep and steady, like an ancient river that never needed permission to flow. The soul doesn't compete. It doesn't compare. It doesn't rush. It simply flows with clarity and trust because it knows where it comes from and where it's returning to. And that is the sanity of self-love. It aligns you with your natural rhythm. It brings you back into harmony with your source. And once you are in tune with that sacred frequency, life begins to support you in ways you once thought impossible. You attract differently, you speak differently, you move through the world with an inner light that requires no spotlight. And you stop waiting for someone to choose you, for a future version of yourself to arrive, for the perfect moment to begin. You realize the choosing starts with you. The healing starts with you. The permission starts with you. No one is coming to give you the love you keep withholding from yourself. And the beautiful, liberating truth is, they don't need to. Because that love has always been here. Like the sky above the clouds, untouched, unchanged, ever present. Waiting for you to look inward. Waiting for you to return. And when you do, when you look in the mirror and see not a project to fix, but a soul to love, you finally understand self-love is not indulgence. It is not vanity. It is sanity. It is the remembering of who you truly are beneath it all. It is the return to your sacred, luminous, limitless self. Now, as we reach the final moments of this journey, let us pause for a moment and take in the vastness of what we have uncovered. The truth has been unfolding like the petals of a flower, each layer revealing something deeper, something more intimate. It is not just the words that we have spoken today, nor the thoughts that we have entertained, but the very essence of who you are, the divine, the eternal, the unshakable presence that has always been there, waiting to be recognized. Self-love is not a luxury. It is the lifeblood of your existence. The breath you take, the thoughts you think, the steps you take upon this earth, they all spring from the well of love that resides within you. And when you come to fully own this truth, when you no longer seek validation from external sources, but instead draw from the infinite well of your own soul, you begin to experience something truly miraculous. You begin to understand that the peace you seek, the joy that eludes you, the sense of purpose that feels just out of reach, it was never anywhere but within you. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are not waiting to be saved by someone or something outside of you. The power, the beauty, the clarity you've been seeking is you. It has always been you. In this moment, feel the weight of this truth. It is not heavy, though it may feel overwhelming at first. It is the weight of your own divinity. It is the weight of owning your worth, of seeing yourself not through the eyes of the world, but through the eyes of God. It is the weight of finally acknowledging that you are not just a person living in the world, but a spark of the divine, an embodiment of love, peace, and power. When you stand in your truth, unafraid and unashamed of who you are, you release the need for approval. You stop seeking to prove your worth because you know deep within your bones that you are enough. You are worthy of all that the universe has to offer. The universe responds to you not because of your actions, but because of your energy, the energy you radiate when you know that you are worthy, when you know that you are whole, when you know that you are loved. There is a profound shift that happens when you begin to love yourself. It's not just a shift in how you view yourself, it is a shift in how the world interacts with you. The energy you give off creates ripples in the world around you. Your relationships change, your work shifts, the way you engage with the people you encounter, the way you move through the world, it all transforms because you are no longer seeking to fill a hole. You are no longer seeking to gain something you don't already have. Instead, you are sharing from a place of abundance, from a place of wholeness. And it is here, in this space of full ownership, where you begin to understand that self-love is not vanity, it is sanity. It is the foundation upon which everything else must be built. It is the soil that nourishes the seed of your true potential. Without self-love, you cannot access the fullness of your power. Without self-love, you cannot align with the infinite wisdom that flows through you. Without self-love, you remain disconnected from the truth of who you are and the divine purpose that is yours alone to fulfill. But with self-love, you are free. You are free to be yourself, to express yourself, to create from a place of true authenticity. No longer do you need to perform, no longer do you need to shrink or hide, no longer do you need to apologize for your existence. You are here, in this moment, as you were always meant to be whole, complete, and radiant. It is in this place of ownership that the soul ascends into full alignment with the divine. There is no longer any resistance to the flow of grace, no longer any struggle between who you are and who you are becoming. You become the living embodiment of your truth, and in that truth you find your freedom, you find your peace, and as you stand in this freedom, know this: you are the reflection of the divine. You are the creation of the universe itself, crafted with love, with intention, with purpose. The universe does not make mistakes. It does not create anything without reason. Your life, your existence is no accident. You are here for a purpose: to love, to serve, to grow, to create, to be. And when you embrace the fullness of who you are, when you embrace your divine identity, you align with that purpose. And as you do so, you will find that the world around you begins to mirror this truth back to you. The doors that once seemed closed will open wide. The struggles that once seemed insurmountable will become stepping stones. The relationships that once felt draining will transform into powerful sources of support and connection. The work you do, the life you lead, will become a reflection of your inner peace, your inner love, and your inner power. But this journey, this transformation, is not a one-time event. It is a continuous unfolding. Each moment is an opportunity to reaffirm your worth, to choose love over fear, to choose peace over conflict, to choose joy over sorrow. And as you do, you will find that life begins to flow with greater ease, with greater grace. So, take this truth into your heart, into your bones, into the very fabric of your being. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of every blessing the universe has to offer. And when you embrace that truth, when you stand fully in the love that is your birthright, you will experience a life that is nothing short of miraculous. Now, as you stand in your full divine identity, feel the weight of the world lifting from your shoulders. Feel the burden of self-doubt, of guilt, of fear dissolving into the air. Feel the embrace of the universe as it welcomes you home to your true self. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are a part of something far greater than you can fully comprehend, a force of love, a force of light, a force of creation. And when you align with this force, when you align with the love that resides within you, you become unstoppable. In this moment, let go of all that no longer serves you. Let go of the doubts, the fears, the limiting beliefs that have kept you small. Let go of the past, for it no longer holds power over you. You are free. You are whole. You are enough. And as you step forward into the world, know that you do so as the full embodiment of love, as the full embodiment of your divine purpose. This is your moment. This is your time to rise, to shine, to own your truth, and to live the life you were always meant to live. Embrace it. Claim it. You are not just a person. You are the divine in human form. And it is time for you to step into that truth with every fiber of your being. So, take a deep breath and let this truth settle deep into your soul. You are worthy. You are loved. You are enough. And as you embrace this, you will find that the world around you begins to reflect the love and peace that you now carry within. Now go forth knowing that you are no longer searching for yourself. You are here. You are home. You are whole. You are free. And this is just the beginning.